Okay, real talk. I embarrassed myself at work. Not badly, but enough that I still think about it. I told a colleague, nicely I thought, super helpfully, you must reply to this email today. Just trying to be clear, efficient, a good team player.
Oh no.
She looked at me like I had just handed her a military order. Like I was suddenly her commanding officer, and she was about to drop and give me 20.
Huh. Yeah. Must in that sentence? That does not sound like a helpful suggestion. That sounds like you are her boss and her drill sergeant at the same time.
Right, and in my head I was thinking should and must are basically the same thing, right? Like they both just mean it's a good idea. Wrong. Apparently very, very wrong.
Very wrong. And wait until we get to have to. Same situation, completely different feeling again. Today, we are going to make this clean. Should, must, have to. 3 words, 3 very different feelings. And by the end of this episode, you will never mix them up again.
Welcome to Say It in English, the podcast that takes the confusing parts of business English and makes them actually make sense. I'm Tom.
And I'm Lexi. And today we are diving deep into 3 little words that can make you sound confident and professional, or accidentally bossy and a little bit weird, depending on which one you choose.
Yep, should, must, and have to. Technically, these are called modal verbs. We will touch on that. But more importantly today, we are going to talk about how they feel. Not grammar charts, not long lists of rules. The feeling. Because that is what tells you which one to use.
Exactly. And this episode is designed for English learners at the A2 to B2 level. So if you already know these words exist, perfect. Today is about knowing which one to reach for in a real work situation. That is the skill we are building.
And we are going to do it in 3 blocks. Should first, then must, then have to. Each block, we will explain the feeling, give you real workplace examples, and show you what happens when you use the wrong one. Deal?
Deal. Let's go. All right, block 1, should. And the core feeling of should, if I had to put it in one sentence, is I'd recommend this, but it is your call. You're not giving a command, you're not reporting a rule. You're giving a friendly nudge, a suggestion from someone who cares.
Right, like a friend giving advice over lunch, not a manager reading from a policy document.
Exactly like that. Okay, example 1, and listeners, really pay attention to how this lands. You should probably double-check that number before you send it. How does that feel, Tom?
It sounds kind, like there's a small warning in it, but it's not aggressive at all. If someone said that to me, I'd think, oh, thanks, good point. I'd feel grateful, not attacked.
Right, because should leaves the decision with the other person. It is advisory. It respects their autonomy. Here is example 2. We should follow up with them by Friday. That is should again, and notice how it sounds collaborative, like you were thinking out loud about what the team ought to do together.
Yeah, we should sounds like you're suggesting, not commanding. Like you're part of the team making a decision, not someone standing over everyone giving orders.
Now, Tom, I want you to say that first sentence again, but this time swap should for must. Go.
You must double check that number before you send it.
Ooh, how does that feel?
Honestly, even just reading it, I felt like I was yelling at someone. It sounds like, do this now or else. There's no warmth in it at all.
Exactly. The meaning is technically similar, but must in that context sounds bossy. It puts pressure on the other person in a way that should simply does not. So remember, if you want to give a friendly recommendation at work, a gentle nudge, should is your word. It is warm, it is respectful, and it keeps things comfortable.
I recommend this, but no pressure. Got it.
Okay, block 2, must. And here is the important thing. Must is not always bossy. When you use must correctly, it is actually powerful and impressive. The core feeling of must is this is very important to me and I am being firm about it.
So it is less about ordering someone else around and more about expressing that you personally are taking something seriously.
Exactly. That is a great way to put it. So, example 1, I must finish this before the call at 3. That is you being firm with yourself, committed. It sounds focused.
Yeah, that sounds determined. Like you have made a decision and you are sticking to it. Not aggressive at all.
And here is example 2. This one works well in a professional meeting. We must address this before launch. In that context, you are making a strong point. You are signaling to the team that this issue is not optional. It is not something to put off. That is must doing its job perfectly.
Right, so must in the right context sounds like leadership, like someone who really means what they're saying. It's just that in the wrong context, like my email situation, it flips and sounds aggressive.
We should address this before launch.
We should address this before launch.
Hear that difference? In a meeting, if you say, we should, people might nod politely and move on. It sounds like a suggestion. If you say, we must, people sit up a little. They take it seriously.
So should sounds like you're offering an idea, and must sounds like you're drawing a line. Same topic, totally different weight.
Exactly. Must equals this is important and I genuinely mean it.
Okay, wait, hold on. I have a real question here, and I think a lot of listeners are in the same position as me, because in my native language, and I know this is true for people who speak Spanish or French or Arabic or Mandarin, we basically have one word that covers should and must and have to. Obligation is obligation. So why does English need 3 separate words for it?
Oh, I love this question. And the answer is actually the key to everything we are talking about today. Are you ready? Here it is. English uses modal verbs to show who is making the rule. That is the whole system in one sentence.
Who is making the rule?
Right. Think of it like this. Is the rule coming from you? Your personal feeling, your recommendation, your internal decision. That is should, depending on how strong that feeling is. Is the rule coming from somewhere outside of you? A company policy, a system, a deadline you did not create, a situation beyond your control? That is have to. English actually embeds the source of the rule inside the verb itself. It tells the listener, here is where this obligation is coming from.
Okay, that is genuinely fascinating. So every time I pick one of these words, I'm not just saying this needs to happen, I'm also saying here is who decided that. The verb is carrying extra information.
Exactly. And once you see it that way, these 3 words stop feeling like random options and start feeling like tools with very specific jobs. Each one tells a different story about authority, about where the pressure is coming from.
Right, so it's not really about grammar, it's about being clear about the source of the obligation. I kind of love that.
It is a very logical system once you see it. Okay, let's move to block 3.
Okay, block 3, have to. And based on what Lexi just explained, this is the one where someone else made the rule.
Exactly. The core feeling of have to is this is not my personal opinion. This is not a recommendation. There is an external rule, a policy, a deadline, a situation, and I am not the one who created it. I am just reporting it to you. I have no choice here.
So it removes you from the position of authority. You're not the rule maker. You're almost like a messenger passing on information from a bigger system.
Yes, that is a perfect way to describe it. So, example 1, we have to submit expense reports by the 15th. That's the company policy. Now, notice, the phrase, that's the company policy at the end is almost not even necessary. Have to already signals that. It is already telling the listener, I did not invent this, the company did.
So if I say we have to do this, I'm actually kind of protecting myself a little too. I'm saying I'm not the villain here. This came from above.
Yes, it is a very useful way to deliver not so fun news without sounding like you enjoy it. Here is example 2, and this one is very everyday. I have to leave at 4 today. I've got a doctor's appointment. That is pure external situation. You did not invent the appointment, life required it.
Right. You're not choosing to leave early because you feel like it. Something outside your control or outside your preference is creating that obligation.
I must leave at 4 today.
I must leave at 4 today.
How does that feel different?
I decided this? Like, leaving at 4 is my strong personal mission, which is a little strange because it just makes people wonder, why are you so intensely committed to leaving at 4?
Right. With must, it sounds like you have made a firm inner declaration about your departure time. With have to, it sounds completely natural. Life just works that way today. One word changes the whole vibe.
So have to keeps you neutral. You're not the authority. The situation is.
Exactly. And here is a little bonus tip that is especially useful in professional emails and formal meetings. When you want to soften have to even further, you can add a phrase in front of it. Something like, I'm afraid I have to, or unfortunately we have to. That layers politeness on top of the already neutral feeling of have to. It is smooth, it is professional, and it softens the blow beautifully.
That is genuinely useful. Like, I'm afraid I have to decline this meeting sounds so much more professional than just, I can't make it. Same information, but one version sounds polished and the other sounds like a text message.
Exactly. And that polish, that register awareness, is what separates a B1 speaker from a B2 speaker. It's not about knowing more words, it's about knowing which word fits the moment.
That's actually a great way to think about language learning in general. It's not just vocabulary, it's choosing the right tool for the right job.
Exactly that. All right, I think we have done a lot of good work today. Should you want to review, you absolutely should. Must we do a quick summary? We must. Do we have to wrap up soon? Unfortunately, we do have to. See? All 3 right there.
Ha! Okay, that was smooth. Very smooth. All right, let's do the decision tree. Quick, fast, back and forth.
Before we run through the decision tree, let's quickly cover a few classic real-world situations where learners almost always reach for the wrong word. First one, job listings. If you have ever read a job posting in English, you have probably seen something like, candidates must have 5 years of experience. That must is doing very specific work. The company is drawing a hard line. This is a firm requirement, not a flexible suggestion. Now, contrast that with a posting that says, candidates should have experience in project management. Should, in that context, means it is preferred, but not a deal breaker. You could still apply without it. The word choice alone tells you exactly how seriously to take each requirement. That is must and should working precisely the way they are designed to. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
Before you speak, stop. Ask yourself, who made the rule? Start there. Everything comes from that question. And here is another classic trap. Imagine your manager asks you to explain a company policy to a new hire. You might instinctively say, you must submit your timesheets by Friday. But think about it. That policy existed long before this conversation. You did not create it. You are simply passing on information about an external rule. So the more natural and accurate choice is you have to submit your timesheets by Friday. Have to keeps you out of the position of authority. It signals to the new colleague that you are both subject to the same system. You are not handing down a personal command. It is a small shift, but it changes how people perceive your intention entirely.
Someone else made it. A company, a policy, a deadline, a situation you did not create.
Have to.
You made it, but it is a friendly suggestion. You want to recommend something without pressure.
Should.
You made it, and you want to sound firm, serious, committed. You want people to know this really matters.
Must.
3 questions, 3 words. That is the whole system.
I genuinely wish someone had given me that decision tree before the email incident.
Ha! Your colleague might have appreciated that too.
Probably, yeah. All right, that is a wrap on today's episode of Say It in English. And before we go, we want to hear from you. Which of these three have you mixed up before? Have you ever used must and accidentally sounded like a drill sergeant? Or maybe you used have to and made it sound like you invented the rule. Drop it in the comments. We genuinely read every single one.
And if this episode helped you, please subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a new one. We have a lot more business English coming your way, and every episode is designed to make you just a little bit more confident at work.
Every word you learn is one more tool in your kit. Keep going. Your English is getting better every single day, even when it doesn't feel like it.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next episode. Bye!